Hello everybody and welcome to another stream. This is a world building stream and I am your host, Tabletop Junkie. So hopefully, not sure if my kids are viewing the stream, but they're more than welcome to. This is for tabletop gamers of all ages. Although I do have it set a little bit differently in my settings a little bit. Just so that way I can have the chat on, but this is going to be a clean, friendly stream regardless. So we're just going to talk about a few key points about being a GM and what we get to come up with, but also we're going to even talk about some things that you get to come up with when it comes to your players. So so they haven't quite reached the car yet. Kind of figured they would have already reached the car by now, but whatever. We'll get there. They'll get there, and then they can watch this. This won't be a super long stream today, but this coincides. Now, you guys are probably wondering why I'm really putting the emphasis on my kids to see this stream. Well, I'm going to actually elaborate. I started an after-school D&D Castles Crusades. Let's just call it what it really is, because I'm Tabletop Junkie. I love all tabletop games. Fantasy, when it comes to fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons and Castles and Crusades has it. I've been playing more Castles and Crusades than anything due to certain reasons I will not disclose on here. So, like I said, I just love Troll Lord games and their stuff, so that's what I choose to run. That's my prerogative. So, we're actually hosting a Castles and Crusades after-school club. It's not really a club. They can invite their friends over if they want to. It's up to them. We could find a way to make them join on the internet to where we're there. I'm pretty much sure I could... Yes, I forgot when they got out of school. I'm pretty sure I can set up the room to where their friends can join online, and everyone will be able to hear what everyone is saying. You know, I have the knowledge, know-how to do that, and pretty much I have the technology to do that. Maybe not enough of it. I might need to get a few more mics. But anyway, point is, it's a very good possibility. I do this, I'm doing this for them primarily because I love tabletop games. They love to play tabletop games with me, and that is our, when it comes to parent and child, that is our favorite pastime. Of course, the rules are they have to get their homework done, and they have to read. At least read something, I don't care what. Just read a book before they're allowed to have any kind of extracurricular fun. That is my rules as a parent. They got to be able to, you got to know how to read. That's just my thing. I had a hard time reading in school because my mind would always wander, and I didn't always comprehend words too well. I wasn't a very fast reader. Lately, I've found books that are more towards up my style of reading. So yeah, I pretty much read a lot now. Now that I'm also in tabletop games, that's all I ever do is read. So I am putting together this thing, and so one of the things I was actually just talking with them last night briefly. I'm going to elaborate on a few things. So they got a few rules that they got to come up with. First off, I do a lot of tabletop gamings with friends of mine, stuff like that. This is kind of a weekly thing for me. So with that being said, I only have so much brain power going around before I'm kind of like, oh boy, all toppled out. So I'm actually teaching them a couple key points that I'm going to talk about right here. We're going to talk about some world building guidelines, okay? And we started off with religion. Religion and politics. So let's get some things straight. We're talking about in-game religion, in-game politics. No, you're not going to know what my political beliefs are or what my political opinions are, along with my spiritual beliefs. You guys can all get over that. We're not talking about that here on my stream. If you guys want it in honest, the thing that I hate the most is gaming politics. Like, oh, hey, are you sure this hits? I think it has to go over my AC. That's all I will argue. And my argue with that is I'm the game master, and I'm the arbiter of the rules. So get over it. So, end of that story. All right, moving on. So the question I asked them last night, I said, well, you guys are going to actually play in a world, but there has to be mystery for you guys. So they have no idea what I have planned for them. I don't even know what I have planned for them yet. They get to find out and make discoveries on that on their own terms. So, but they don't get to know what any of it is. Only I will decide that. But I will decide that within reason, set of guidelines of my own, of which I know about and they don't. Alright, without further ado here, and talking in circles, let's move on to the world building guidelines. And the first topic we have decided that we're going to talk about, especially on this world building stream, dun 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 dun, 3 questions that you have to ask yourself. Okay? World building guidelines. 3 questions you have to ask yourself before anything else. Number 1, does your world have a religion? If yes, go to question 2. If not, then move on to the next step, which we will not talk about on this one. We will briefly, but not right now. That'll be at the end of the stream. So question 2, is your world monotheism or polytheism? We live in a world that is mostly polytheism. You have certain cultures are developed from certain religions, such as the Norse mythology, the Greek mythology, Buddha, Christianity. We are polytheism. We have multiple religions, multiple gods. However, we ourselves separate ourselves. Are we a monotheism religion or a polytheism religion? So not to get too far into this, they have decided that their world is going to be polytheism. So, if you did choose polytheism, they get to go to number 3. If they chose monotheism, that the entire world that they're going to explore only believes in one religion, then that's fine. That's all the clerics going to be devoted around to. Well, they decided they're going to go with polytheism. They like the idea of multiple gods with multiple titles, multiple different things. So, if it was monotheism, we would stop and move on to the next step. Polytheism, here we go. So, question 3, how many gods do you have? The requirements that I have made for them is they must have more than 3. Or they must have more than 3 at minimum. And who they are exactly. So, I tasked all the kids in this group. I said, so let's get one thing straight. If we're going to do this and you want a polytheism world, you want different religions, different beliefs, different gods, and all that stuff, then I'm all for that. However, they are going to make up the gods. And that's what I told them. I said, I have my world Paramore I can stick them in. I have more worlds getting developed every day. And I said, I actually have other things to do besides, just make a world that's just going to be for them. This world is actually just theirs. It is only for their group. No one else is going to see this world, other than maybe my target audience who will see this world. I've got a lot of things floating around. So, sorry. Yep, I have a lot of things floating around and a lot of messages coming at me at once. So, alright. So, each child, or each member of this group, I should say, because all my kids at this point are teenagers. They're all 13, 14 years old. Every single one of them. Except I think I got one that is actually 16, 17. So, this is like an after-school thing. I told them, I said, hey, why don't I spend some time? You guys like gaming. I like gaming. Why don't we spend some time? That way they're not always playing on video games and stuff like that. So, I charged each member to come up with 3 gods. They could be good, neutral, or evil. And I told them, you guys design them yourselves. I said, however, I got 3 rules for you. 3 guidelines that you got to follow when creating them. Number 1, you cannot talk to each other about one of your gods. You have to come up with a god on your own, write it down, such as details about the god, history about the god, anything that you want me to know about this deity, what they look like, who they are they a god, goddess, basically, are they male, female, how are they depicted, and that's what you send to me. And the very first one you guys come up with, they cannot collaborate whatsoever. Number 2, they must come up with some details. And it's funny, one of them said, oh man, I kind of have a hard time writing stuff down. And I said, pick up a book and get an inspiration somewhere and write it down and send it to me. I don't care which. And they must have it turned in 2 weeks. And it is basically, yes, I gave them homework. I told them you guys can get it from any myth, any story you find online. I don't care which. One of them did say that, like, this sounds a lot like homework. And I'm like, yeah, well, learn something new. So, yes, I'm making them look up stuff on other cultures, other stuff. And I told them find something about religion, learn something, and then talk to me about it. So the second thing is, this deity can be inspired. You can pull them from any form of media. And like I said, I got to have details such as looks, gender, and then basically a title. One of them has really claimed the god of death. So they want one of them wants to make up their own version of the Grim Reaper. I totally allowed that. And that one's probably going to be hers. Now, I told them they did not have to collaborate on any of their deities. They don't have to collaborate with each other on either. However, they do want to collaborate, that's fine, but the first one they make up, they can't collaborate. They have to do 3, and I will allow 2, but they have to do 2. 1, they can collaborate. The second one, they can't collaborate. Or, no, I said that backwards. The first one, they can't collaborate with each other. The second one, they can collaborate with each other if they choose to desire. And if they come up with the third one, they can collaborate with each other. But 1, I want them on their own for each individual one for the first time around. So they actually liked that project. That actually was pretty good. This is the rules that I set forth for them to make up their own world. Now, I'm going to actually have to throw out a name that a lot of you guys may know about. His description, his link to his channel will actually be in my... Holy crap and everything. I've got like over 400 messages already. So anyway, I actually have a friend that I'm going to promote here. His name is Ironcaster. His channel will be in my description. The link to his channel will be in my description. Please go to him, like, and subscribe. He gave me an idea that they should come up with the land masses and the borders on their own. So I actually have another plan going for that once they give me all their gods. Now, at the end of this, I have four players, maybe 5. I should have a total of, if I'm not miscalculating, a minimum of at least 4 or 5 deities to a maximum of 15, maybe more. So I'm going to be very interested to see what they come up with, and I may actually have to share that with everyone online. Like, hey, this is what this is what the ideas they've come up with. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do with their information. For those who do know, I do have my own world of Paramore. I run the Chronicles of Paramore every other Friday of the month. So I'm going to show you guys my layouts. I have 2 layouts for deities. All right. So when they give me the information, this is what's actually I'm going to do. I'm going to break them down on these charts, and they can actually see it for themselves. Oh, Lord. There we go. So, as you can see, when I first designed these deities, these are my deities from the world of Paramore. These are the prime ones. We talked about Morg, Yenna, there was even Corey, Cordale. I think they even talked about Tessera a few times, from the first campaign. These are the deities I first came up with. There's about 20 of them. I actually have came up so far in Paramore. Paramore will be flooded with, at the end of Paramore's lifespan on the planet, and after thousands of years and generations and millennia has gone by, there will be 122 reported different gods. That's probably potentially 122 or less potential different religions. So there we go. That's what I came up with, 122. But I don't think for them they'll be that high up. So for the first thing that I'm going to do, they got to come up with the name. And like I said, with the information they give me, I'm going to separate by name, title, alignment, a symbol, a weapon, the type of worshipers, and depiction. Depiction is generally... Give me 1 second. Sorry, I do apologize. I had to stop for a minute, turn on the fan behind me, so you guys may hear a fan going on in the background. I do apologize for that ahead of time. It's just a little warm in my house, and I refuse to turn on the central air. Anyway... So, yes, I will, what is that, 7? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep. So, those are the 7 categories that will make up this deity to this point. Then, Then I will move on to the next big thing. So, once I have a table of deities to do, then I'm going to make up their deity page. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean by deity page. I've decided to go with a layout a long time ago with this one, and I'm going to pull up Morg. Morg is an all-time favorite. There we go. All right. Morg. This is the deity page. There will be a small description of the deity right here. Morg is the father of creation who values honor, planning, and well-made steel. Yippee for that. Because Morg is actually a dwarf, it is believed by every race that the dwarves are actually potentially the actual mother race of all creation, including human life to some degree. It is kind of weird on how you kind of put that and how they look at it, but yet the humans on Paramore do acknowledge that Morg is the father of creation, and he's a dwarf. History of Morg's works, his appearance, and then relationships. So, in most other deities, I do have, titles like this. Only, I don't have titles like this. Morg is the only one who has this title, right here. Let me see if I could pull up maybe another god real quick to show you the difference. I'm going to pull up Gore. Gore is the god of war in my universe. There we go. Alright, so, Gore. I don't have all the information, and some of these I did not fill. So, Gore has, Gore does not concern himself with, okay. So, Gore has no relationships with any deity. Okay, that's a bad example. Let me get another example out. Let's do High. Oh, please, God, tell me I did at least do this. And yes, they do have sacred colors. This one, I believe, is a hippie kind of god. God of nature. So, they too have no relationships at all. Wow. Okay. I've got... Okay, Yenna, here we go. Alright. This is probably another bad example. Okay, so let me tell you guys something. 20 gods, and yes, some of their pages, I don't have them tied into every... Oh, yeah, they don't particularly like this person or this person. Okay, so let's see here. Holy crap, I cannot believe I did this. I don't want Goldolin, because a lot of people may not like Goldolin. So Goldolin is an angel, sort of. But I think she's a polytheistic angel. Okay, yeah, this one's a bit better. Alright, so here, as you can see, they have different descriptions of relationships with gods. For instance, okay, so Crichton and Golden are actually siblings. Okay, so that's a pretty bad example. They're actually related, but that's how that would work. It would be relation, or it would be love interest, or it would be enemies or friends. That's how that would generally work. Like, for instance, Tessera and Solana. Golden is respective lover of both of them. Let's see what else. Goldolin and Croa have frequent arguments and battles at times, but Croa respects Goldolin and where she stands as a deity. And I believe Croa is an actual evil god. So, yeah. But, yeah, this is kind of the difference with some of them. Some of them actually don't have, like, High does not have any relationships because this deity does not concern themselves with any other relationships of that. She is is it a she? Is it a goddess or god? Nope, god. It's a he. High is actually considered the god of nature, and all they care about is all the living creatures of the world, including even those born, like, out of, even those born that are not like animals, but they value life. So they, in their eyes, they have the highest value High has the highest value of life than anyone else, especially against Gore, the god of war, who destroys life. Morg is the creation of life, but they still don't have a relationship. So Morg has the best relationships ever. He is the leader of the Godly Fellowship, okay? So he created a fellowship of other deities that he converses with on a constant basis. So he has created a council known as the Godly Fellowship with deities that he trusts the most, such as Solana is his second in command, because that is his most trusted member. The other members of his fellowship is Jassadar, Cordell, Ira, and then the final member, and also Morg's most respected, is Yenna, as they share some of the same values. The Godly Fellowship stands in the way of any deity who attempts to destroy the creation of the world, such as Gruga. The whole creation of that was to keep Gruga at bay long enough so that way, hopefully forever, but that's never going to happen. Gruga will eventually overcome some of them and, start tearing apart the world and stuff like that. Even though there's stuff going on in the world of Paramore, there is stuff going on the higher planes as well. So, yeah. Which, that'll be a story for another day. So, this new group is tasked to come up with deities of their own and their own personal conflicts and connections with each other. And that is the format. I like that format. It's an easy to read format, although I do need to actually maybe change some things on that format a little bit because I didn't like on how I pulled up one of the gods and the information goes not available. I shouldn't have had not available there. I should have said this person does not have any care for any romantic love interests or any peace treaties or anything. They don't care about anything else other than themselves because what they stand for as a title. As a god of nature, all they mainly would care for would be the animals and other living things that are innocent. And if I'm not mistaken, High is a completely neutral person. True neutral is what we call it. Because you have neutral good, neutral, and neutral evil. But you don't say neutral. That's just too crazy. And a huge tongue twister. You would call it true neutral. Alright, so actually let me check on that. I want to pull up my old... God of Nature. Yes, High God of Nature is true neutral. Depicted as a human. So, yeah, they pretty much animal lovers, hippie of the immortal realm. So that is what I'm going to do with the information that is given to me in about 2 weeks, and then we're going to go, and then I'm going to start the next step of world building. So I got to give my man Ironcaster props. I don't have I'm not going to show off his channel here, but I am going to put a link in the description to his channel. They are also going to create landmass. And, well, they're just going to be told to number the landmass and then put numbers on the back of the sheet. And those numbers are going to determine climate, fields of battle, if there's any settlements or not, if it's wilderness, if there's anything I could put there as far as an adventure. I've actually got charts created that, no, unfortunately, I can't show you because these numbers are going to range from 0. It's going to be a series of numbers from 0 to 9. And each number is going to translate into something for that particular landmass. So what I'm going to have them do is I'm going to show them a neat trick. They're going to roll some dice, and they're going to circle each dice wherever it lands. It is an old age technique to come up with instant landmasses, and then once that is done and they turn that in, I'm going to move that over to my GIMP folder, my GIMP program, and I am going to be creating it in hex form. And they're probably going to do this on grid paper, so that way I can measure out the grid. So that way we're not going to have huge land masses. We may have a huge land mass, but it won't be like freakishly huge. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this turns out. And then I've got plans for each of the regions that they're going to help create and everything like that. Like I said, they're going to give me a series of numbers under each one. I think I don't know what I'm doing yet because I'm still creating the charts, but once the charts are finished, they're going to follow the guidelines for the charts, and they're going to generate a world that not even they know any secrets to. Me? I'm gonna create the story as their world develops, as they're creating it. So, Tabletop Junkie, the ultimate game master. Well, that is everything I have at this time. Hopefully, they will review this. That way, if they forget what they need to do, they can just review this, and it would be a good guideline for them. And I thought this would be a very good workshop to actually show off some of the topics that I go through in my head and some of the breakdowns I do in my head when I create my own worlds. So, I think it's pretty nice. Anyway, that is everything I have this time. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and remember to work hard, play hard, game on everybody. Have a great and wonderful day.